Well, Roberto, I'm gonna respectfully disagree. And the reason I'm gonna say that is because the bottleneck of any business breaks down to two things. It's the skill set or the mindset of the leader. But if we can all agree on a common platform, then what ends up happening is it gives you the ability to then communicate. It's not so much because you're in Latin America and you do things different and you can't separate personal from, or it's difficult to separate the personal from the professional. It's that there hasn't been a framework set down to allow everybody to have an expectation of where you should be tomorrow so that you can call somebody out on the carpet if they don't get there. In other words, when you're doing an accountability process, there's really 5 questions that you want to ask yourself and then you want to ask of them. Right? The first thing that you need to ask them is, what was the contract? What was the agreement? Right? And if there wasn't an agreement made with them, in other words, I've got 4 partners and 2 of them are working hard, 2 of them aren't. Okay, well, did the 2 that aren't, are they somehow out of contract? Was there an agreement, either consciously or unconsciously, written, unwritten, spoken or unspoken? Was there a contract that everybody would pull their weight? Right? Was there an agreement where they said they would do one thing and they did another? Right? That's cut and dry. It doesn't that removes the whole cultural thing out of the equation and says, okay, what did we agree to do here? Like, we all came together, the 4 of us came together, everybody agreed on a vision. Did we have an agreed upon vision? If we had agreed upon vision, did we have an agreed upon contract? And then the question is yes or no. And if the answer was no, then the problem is that you haven't solidified. And again, that's why Tony builds out the Business Mastery Program is a 5-day event where he compresses about a decade's worth of facilitation into 5 days. Well, he spends about half to 3/4 of the first day building what we call an effective business map. An effective business map is vital because everybody knows this is the information, this is the data that is active. This is the relevant information in the terrain that I'm operating in to give you the ability for everybody. Because if you have 4 people and they're in a rowboat and they're rowing across a river and they're all rowing in different directions, are they ever going to get there? No, they're not. They're just never going to get there. So you got to ask yourself, A, do we all agree on the outcome? This is where we're going. This is the end of the road. This is our ultimate vision. This is our exit strategy. Okay, well, if you all agree on that, then go, okay, if we all agree that that's what we wanted, then did we all have an understanding of how the 4 of us were going to fill that space? Right? Did everybody have an agreed upon role in the organization? And if they did, say, well, this was the contract. The contract was I was going to work here, you were going to work here, you were going to work here, and you were going to work here. Can we all agree that that was the contract? Yes. Okay. What did you do other than that? So this part 2 is, 1 is what was the contract? 2 was what did you do other than? Right. So it's what we call support account, because you can't make them. They can't be accountable to you. A person can only be accountable to themselves. Well, let me rephrase that. They can be accountable to you, but they can only be in integrity to themselves. They can't be out of integrity with you. If that makes sense, right? They are at some level. If they made a contract with you and they didn't keep that contract, not only are you feeling it, but they're feeling it. Does that make sense? Okay, so we got to know what was the contract, what was the agreed upon outcome that we were looking for, what happened besides that. Right? You got to say, this is what I'm experiencing. This is the world that I am seeing us operating in. This is the difference between the two. And then the third piece is, how is that affecting you? How is that affecting the outcome? Both positive and negative, right? Because the challenge people make is they go, okay, well, here was the agreed upon contract. Here's what you do instead, and here's how that negatively affected me and the company, right, and the team. Right. You also want to know how it positively affected, because they may have made a decision like a pop fly rule. We all have these pop fly rules. We have an agreed upon kind of way of working unless X happens, and then I'm going to go to Y. Right. We all have these pop fly rules. There may have been a pop fly rule that happened that made them shift, and then it's a communication problem. It's not an accountability problem. Why didn't you communicate that with the rest of the team so that we could all shift to match, or that so we could understand where you're going? Right, so you need to know what was the agreed upon outcome, what did they do instead, how did that impact both positively and negatively, right? And then what are we going to do to deal with, what can we do to solve so that we don't come back down this road again? Do we need to change the rule? Do we need to change the contract? Do we need to dissolve what we're doing? Do we need to change? Do we need to all come in alignment? And then the last piece is what will be the outcome if it persists? In other words, if we come down this road again and I still find out that you're not working, well, then what do we do as a company to address that challenge?